The Hayom Yom Benegeh zum Rebbe Marash Tiferes Shebetiferes and the Pisgum of the Tzemach Tzedek is very well known. Was the Pelle as Tiferes Shebetiferes mach gut. When the Malamed described the Rebbe Marash as one who is performing well, the Tzemach Tzedek's comment was that this is not a surprise because this is Tiferes Shebetiferes. And that's a message for us, Benegeh, to the Farbrengen tonight, that this Farbrengen will be in a Eifen as macht gut, to the extent that was the Pelle. ובלושן הידוע ירצון שיפלו הדברים ביו בהשמם. Sometimes that could be said b'derech yiratzon. As I yiratzon, this is indeed a prayerful wish that the Farbrengen shetaka be as vaidi as peilis beifen shol teferes shebetiferes. Chassidus tells us benegeh to teferes eile ad ha-keser, and the beer in Chassidus is that keser is pshitus, keser is uncolored, has no shape, form, style, whereas teferes represents a variety of colors. And dafke the pshitus ha'atzmis is misgala in the tzir of teferes in a way that's even higher than keser. Keser is simplicity, but teferes means you can have a range of different styles and approaches and attitudes, and yet all these different approaches represent a higher truth which is higher than the various different colors. And the Rebbe linked Tiferes Shebetiferes directly with the Miftzah. Miftzah kol ha-miftzoyim ha-avos ha-geula ha-midas va-shlema v'peil mamish, both in the Sicha of Chavches Nissen, where the Rebbe went through the Seder HaYomim up to and including Beis Iyar, and in the Sicha, the landmark Sicha of Tazriya Metzayda Tavshun and Aleph, where the Rebbe discusses. It's a surprise that we just must have skipped this over, that there's many different approaches how to work on Bias HaMashiach. And the ideal approach is in the manner of Tiferes. It's no secret that amongst Chassidim there's harbe drachim lamakim, and often these harbe drachim lamakim come across in a range of different colors and styles and approaches. And even in a way that the colors are misnagid, seem to be misnagid zelozeh. Loud tones and sometimes even beyond that. And the Rebbe addressed us befeidish, both in the Sicha of Chavches Nissen, where the Rebbe said that people should get together and give an eitzah. He also spoke about particular methodology of Oides de Toyu Bekelim de Tikkun, and there's nothing more to express the various different approaches amongst Anash other than Toyu versus Tikkun. And even more befeidish in the Sikh of Tazriya Metzayda Nun Aleph, the Rebbe says that there's a range of methods to bring Mashiach, all under the rubric of Malchus, Malchus representing Malchusei Shel Melech HaMashiach. And it could either be Malchus Shebe Chesed, Shebe Gvura, Shebe Teferes, Shebe Netzach, Shebe Hoid, Shebe Yisoid, Shebe Malchus. And the Rebbe says in that Sikha that the method to bring Mashiach is Lo Yal Yidei Malchus B'Taharasa, which the Rebbe translates to mean in Yonei Shel Melech HaMashiach Atzmai, the pure, unadulterated Malchus as it stands is not the derech ha-yishara ha-kalov ha-mihira. The best approach is not Malchus as it's shemen, zay, zoch, pach, toir, but Malchus the way it comes down in a style of Tiferes. Which the Rebbe translates that to mean also, Tiferes is something, Tiferes u'matan Torah. Tiferes allows us to link the approaches of Ratzai and Shuv. Ratzai, the Rebbe says, this is all beferish from the Sikha, can lead to Shviras HaKelim. And Shuv, unfortunately, leads to Ribiat Tzimtzumim until Inikas HaChitzonim Chaz V'Shalom. And Dafka, if we act in a manner of Tiferes, Torah, limit Torah shall Nesider Reinu in Yonim Moshiach Hagula and the Rebbe Mamanim L'Kotasich shall Nesider Reinu, that will make it work. And this is a recurrent theme in the Sichas of Nun Aleph Nun Beis. If you will, we could go to the Sicha of Achri Kedoshim. The Rebbe says that the approach of Geula should not be such that it's Sheilul Welt, but the Geula has to be in Goyla. Kisa Risa Vatuchal. Malchusay Beratzin Kibla Aleim. These are all the words of the Rebbe. So standing back now 28 years later, and we make a genuine Cheshbon HaNefesh. Where are we up to today after 28 years where we heard the Zaka V'Tzaka of the Rebbe? Karos Madua Basi V'Ei Nish Karosi V'Ei Noine Ich ha getan alles was ich kenn und Yitach nas nicht gucken die Gefalle in Normen nach Halse Schara gebringt der Gula am Mittes war schlimm und es ist recht dass Hein soll nicht kommen Mashiach und morgen soll nicht kommen Mashiach und übermorgen nach Mann und Zlan so kommen sich zusammen 10 Jiden V'chulu everybody knows the Sichas. And we're sitting and hearing these Rebbe's words, as recht as morgen soll nicht kommen Mashiach. That if Chav Tes Nissen will Chas V'Sholem, the Geula will be delayed. From Eir L'Chav Ches to Eir L'Chav Tes, this is a Rachmana Litzlan. And it seems in the Sikha, an even bigger Rachmana Litzlan is the fact that we're okay with it. This is recht. It's justified. So now, 28 years later, and we passed Chav Ches Nissen also, when we're standing early Beis here, the Zaika von Admosa and the Sturm, the Sacha Starke, the Sturm, the Gewalt von Admosa. What is going on over here? How's it Shaykh Memetzias? 28 years later, and the Rebbe schreit, as Echa Starke is, und es ist recht, as Heinz soll nicht kommen, Sheikh. Well, be Beis hier, ein Tess. Rachmana Litzlan. And if we make a Cheshbon Nefesh, where are we standing? What happened since Chav Ches Nissen? What happened? When people make a Cheshbon Nefesh and they ask, what did I do all my whole lifetime? I'm 28 years old, or 28 plus 28, or plus another 28. And where do all these years fly by? What happened over these 28 years? So, this maybe should be said with more mashka. But Sachsidische Verbringen, we just need a Mayan Matar Becholshu. We turn into two groups, it seems. One which only believes in Toyu and is not good as Tikkun. And their campaign is to get as extreme as you can get. And dafke zu brechen the Keilim von Tikkun. Otherwise known in their language as Hakzana. And the more you can go, more of that, Adarab, Kol HaMarba, Reizim Meshubach, U'Biloshna Oilim Mishagoyim. Mishagoyim that destroy any good thing that we have. And then you have another side of the spectrum, people that say, Oza, Vais, Oretz, Rahman, Litzlan, and who cares there, but we have to take what the Rebbe says and adapt it to our times, and times are different. U'Biloshna Oilim HaPekursim. So if the question is what's better to be a Meshugan or Apikoidus, so that's a Beferish Shemayim and a Mishnah. Mutav she'ikara adam sheita kol yomav, v'al yirosha shah achas lifnei amokim. But why does it have to be a choice? How is it possible the Rebbe gave us a shlichus, and all we're stuck with is whether we should pick Tnuas HaPekursus or Tnuas HaShigoin? I'm saying this be'emes. The emes of a son of a leiv shalom. Why is that a choice? Why isn't the choice that we should do, like the Rebbe says, and merge Oides, Detayu, Bekelim, Detikun. Lichatchila Aribir. Lichatchila Aribir, Ein Lichatayu, Gadol Mizeh. And you actually say, the Welt sagt, you actually start off at the Welt sagt. We're actually fighting the Welt, right? We say that the Welt says, and then we say, no, we're going to go Aribir, Sheba Aribir. And yet the Rebbe is medayik and madgish and so many sichas. Why do we have to say the Welt sagt? Why don't we lechatchila say lechatchila Aribir? And verkehrt, we magdim the Welt sagt before an ich sag. The Welt is off track. So why, if we're Chassidim, we're sitting by Fabrenga, why we're chazering a pisgam that starts off with the tnuah from Welt sagt? The conclusion is ich sag. The ich sagt dem Rebbe sich, the Rebbe marash lechatchila Aribir. So who cares about the Welt sagt? Because if you want lechatchila Aribir to penetrate in Welt, after anerkennen as the Welt sagt, and you start with the Welt sagt, not as a tnuah in Peil Mamish, not even as a tnuah benefesh. The Welt sagt is just a stepping stone to know as lechatchila Aribir. Nicht nur Rebbe mekenish darunter, nur lechatchila. But the lechatchila Aribir becomes part of Welt, part of Elam. So if we have to make a cheshbon and nefesh b'negeit a ma'aser pearl b'negeit a chav ches nissen, our shlichus is cut out for us. Our shlichus is very clear. There are many drachim. You want to pick your own derech. The Tzemach Tzedek had 6 children, and they all under the movement called Chabad. And the Rebbe said that the Rebbe that Tzemach Tzedek was das, Mafteche the Kolol Shis, and if he had 6 children, they were Chassidei Chabad. But they're not the Rebbe's Chassidim. The Rebbe said even further that from the fact that the Friedrich Rebbe referred to every one of these children of the Tzemach Tzedek as Admur, this is an indication we all can become Admur. Good luck in your Rebbe. But we're now not talking about Kapust, we're not talking about Liyadi, we're not talking about Nezhin, we're talking about Chabad Lubavitch. The Rebbe told us there's one derech which he calls derech hayishara. There's a crooked path, a krum path. There's a path which won't even get you there also. And there's a derech which the Rebbe says himself, there's hakala v'amihira b'yoyser mibein kol darka Torah. And the Rebbe actually says more than that this derech is Rebbe Yomer. Who's the one giving you this derech? The Rebbe is actually a murder gezach in the Sikha. The Rebbe asks the question why he's called Rebbe. And the Rebbe doesn't answer the question in the Sikha. 4 questions, and doesn't answer. And it's like Shmamish Boiler. The answer is, he's called Rebbe because Rebbe is Mashiach. The name Rebbe emphasizes that he's Mashiach, like it says in that Sikha, Vanan Chesidim, Nana Besrai, Benegel, and Asidrainu. Rebbe Yomi, you want to know the path that the Rebbe says? Eizu derech yishara. I was here by the Fabreng when the Rebbe said it. I could tell you where I was standing, right here under the Yechi sign, which didn't exist then. The Rebbe said it, and it was so boiler that the Rebbe was saying, the words the Rebbe was saying is, you're asking me what's the way? I mean, I made it pretty obvious to you what's the way. I've been saying this for 40 years. The Rebbe spoke about these words, and the Mugdi Chesed comes across very Bikelim the Tikkun. But the oiris was much more felt in actual sikha, the oiris of the way the Rebbe said it, like every Fabrengen. There's a derech which is a derech hayishara. And this derech hayishara daf durchnemen every one of us, and that has to become our main campaign, our main inna sadav zayin negei benefesh. There's a lot of new things that we added to the list. There's the things that the Rebbe gave us, and those minola sezua. We have the Rebbe sichis, we have the Rebbe in the Bakani being moedid yichi. Those elu inyanim shem kedish kedashim. But beyond that, Loi Seisif leads to Loi Sigra, and certainly Loi Sigra leads to Sigra for sure. There's no question about that. If we take the Rebbe's message and we say that we need to have Eiris the Teu, Bekelim the Tikkun, there's not much of a difference over here. We all want Bias HaMashiach Bepel Mamish. Zol the Rebbe Eisir Bepel Mamish that Zayin Yichia Dineinu Mereinu V'Rabbeinu Melech HaMashiach Leila Vod Bepel V'Golui Ulenetzach Nitzachem Ule'ein Koil is Galusa Ule'ein Koil Alidei Puloisav. We already had the Hisgalus of Moshiach Shal Melech HaMashiach, the Rebbe tells us. One of the milas of learning Lakuta Sicha Shal Nasi Derenu is that you see that half of the things that are perceived as people saying on their own, you see it's in the Sichas. The Rebbe says that Hisgalus Mitzvah Nasi Dereinu was Hisgalus Melech HaMashiach. B'chol HaToikev. And we already had this Hisgalus Mitzvah. And this is what we have to live with. This has to be the Aver Shel Mashiach B'chol Rega V'Rega Sh'Adam Chai, when you're sleeping or when you're awake. As soon as you wake up, you breathe Aver Shel Mashiach. The Guf HaMetzias Shekayem Eslivnes El Malchus. And then this Galusa Le'ein Koil Al Dei Puloisav, this Galus Mitzvus is reflected in the Achrazi V'chia Adonai HaMelech David Le'olam. And then this Galusa Le'ein Koil Ve'ele told us Yitzchak, Zol Zayin the Ve'ele told us Yitzchak, Mal Zen the Rebbe Begilui, V'teikef Miyad Mamash, Onachem Al Yichia Adonainim, Reinim V'Rabbeinu, Melech HaMashiach Le'olam Vod, Mepeil V'Gilui. Akalpanim Benegei to Cheshbon HaNefesh, it's time that we sit down together and break our heads and do it Bepeil Mamash.